Hey guys, we did it! We made it till Friday! Hallelujah for that, right? I'm gonna move my chair here a little bit. I feel like I'm super duper close to the camera, so there, that feels a little better. Oh, I hope that you guys have all had a fabulous week. In about 45 minutes, my hubby's going to be getting off of work, and we are going to go into town and go out to eat and do a little bit of shopping. So I am glad that Friday is here. I hope that you are too. And I hope that you have some good plans for the weekend, and that life is going to treat you amazingly well. What I'm going to talk about today is the best way to cope with anxiety. Anxiety is a big one. But like I've said in previous videos, anxiety also gets thrown around a lot, that word anxiety. And the difference between anxiety and just being anxious is anxiety can hit you out of nowhere. There could be absolutely positively no reason for it, and you're just paralyzed. So what happens is your heart starts to beat very fast. I hope it was beating prior to that, but it starts to beat really fast. You start to get shaky. Your palms are sweaty. You're paralyzed in your shoes. You're just anxious. It's hard to explain to somebody that doesn't suffer from it, and I hope that you can see the difference between somebody that suffers from anxiety and somebody that's just nervous over a test. Anxiety will stay with you, where when you're just nervous about something, that will go away after whatever it is that was bothering you or had you anxious or nervous about is through. So the best way to cope with your anxiety is to understand your anxiety. Anxiety is like it's a state of mind that consists of psychological symptoms and physical symptoms, and it arises from a perceived threat. Somebody who is homebound because of their anxiety may not be able to go out their door because they're afraid of the world outside. Somebody that is suffering from anxiety might not be able to be in a crowd because they feel that all eyes are on them and that they're going to say something stupid, or they're going to embarrass themselves, or they're going to embarrass somebody else. So that is the perceived threat. It's when something out there is going to hurt you in here. It's like the fight or flight situation. You get nervous. Okay, I've said this before, but I could be grocery shopping and doing just fine, and then all of a sudden, I just lose it. I feel like I can hear everybody, but I can't understand what they're saying. It's like it gets super loud. The room closes in on me. My heart beats super fast. I shake. I feel like I want to throw up. I feel like I'm going to pass out because I get lightheaded from it. So, those are some of the symptoms that somebody with anxiety goes through. But when you have anxiety, the anxiety attack or the panic attack actually happens when you are exposed to that perceived threat. So in the grocery store, I feel like there is tons of people around me that they're just focused on me. It's not true, because really nobody focuses on anybody but themselves in all reality. But it's that thought in my head that it's everybody is there staring at me to make fun of me. That is where my anxiety comes from. But sometimes when just the simple fact of understanding your anxiety, that can actually reduce the amount of times and the severity of your anxiety attack. So if you know what it is that perceived threat, understanding what's going to happen next will actually help you reduce the amount of times that you have a panic attack. It's crazy in that way. And it's actually counterproductive to avoid those situations. It's like when you're learning to ride a bike when you're a child or as an adult, whatever. You're learning to ride your bike. You fall off. You don't ever get on the bike again because you might fall. You don't ever get on the bike again because you feel like you might fall off again. So what happens? You never learn how to ride the bike. It's basically the same way with anxiety. If you avoid those situations, if I avoid going to the store all the time, I am never going to learn how to cope with the anxiety. Sorry, it just said low connection. I'm not sure what happened there. But so you definitely need to make sure that you don't avoid the situations. Learn how to ride that bike. Practice. Practice makes perfect. We all know that. The first thing that you can do to help cope with your anxiety is to accept your anxiety. If you ignore it, think about the alcoholic that never, ever, ever admits to being an alcoholic. They don't ever get better. They never quit drinking. That they stay an alcoholic because they're denying that they have a problem. If you realize that you have anxiety and you just accept that anxiety, that is going to take you so far. The simple fact of understanding your anxiety and then accepting your anxiety. If you push it to the side, nope, I don't have anxiety. Nope, not me. You're never going to get to the next level without your anxiety. One thing that you can do is make a list of goals or make a list of problems that occur from your anxiety. And then make a list of goals, small goals, of what you can do to counteract that. So I know that going to the store can set off an anxiety attack for me. So one way that I can do it is break it down. Okay, I understand going to the store does it. I accept that. So now I'm going to get ready today. I don't have to go to the store today, but I'm going to get ready today. So I could go to the store and do that for a few days. Then, okay, you're going to get ready and then you're going to step out your door. Now you've just reached 2 goals to overcoming that anxiety. Then you're going to get ready, step out the door, and sit in the driver's seat of your car. Small goals to get you through that anxiety. Because in all actuality, my anxiety begins here in my home before I even go out the door, right? So I've overcome a few of those steps, and you don't have to do them one right after another every day. Do the first one for a week if you have to. Do the second, or the first and the second for a week, and so on and so forth. But make that list of small goals to get you through that anxiety. And that helps you cope with life, with your anxiety. Get to know relaxation techniques. This one is extremely beneficial for those that suffer from generalized anxiety, where there isn't a specific threat that causes your anxiety. It is you are a worrier, okay? But it's taking worrying to a major extreme. So you worry that if the sun doesn't shine today, that Mercury is going to crash into Jupiter, and then we're going to have Armageddon. Okay, those are all things that are totally, it's not going to happen. I mean, it could, I guess, anything's possible. But what I'm saying is very far-fetched. However, your anxiety disorder has you thinking of those things that are far-fetched, and you worry, and you worry, and you worry. So learning how to relax through an anxiety attack will get you so much further. And the first thing you need to do to relax is to breathe. And I know it sounds stupid, but sometimes when those attacks hit us, we forget to breathe. And one of the things that happens to me right before an anxiety attack is my face turns really red. And then I know my face has turned red, so it gets even redder, and then bam, my anxiety is way out of control. But I've realized that my face turns that red because I haven't been breathing correctly. So just breathe. Breathe in and breathe out, and do it slow. Do it as slow as you have to. Just breathe. And then listen to music. You could, and if not, without, it's Friday, guys. It doesn't have to be actual music. It could be, waves crashing on the beach. It could be any type of white noise. Anything that relaxes you, listen to it. Put those earbuds in, or whatever they're called, and just listen. And then breathe. Breathe and listen. Close your eyes. Imagine yourself getting through this, one step at a time. Meditate. I'm going to tell you that this is something that I've only tried a couple of times. Kind of creeps me out. I don't know why. I'm not a good meditator, I guess. I find that when I try meditating, I start worrying about things. So this one is counterproductive for myself. I just wanted to be upfront and honest with that. But it has worked for many, many people. I mean, meditating, for most people, works very, very well. So maybe go to find somebody that can teach you how to meditate. I know that there are tons of places. There's videos online on YouTube that you can watch to learn how to meditate. Like I said, it may not work for you. It may. Just try it. It's not going to hurt anything to just try it. And then the whole make some lifestyle changes. None of us want to hear this. We just don't. It's just something that when we hear make some lifestyle changes, we think that we are doing something wrong. so we have to change our life. That's not the case. I am not telling you that you are living your life in a bad way and that's why you have anxiety. That's not the case at all. That has nothing to do with anxiety. But if you simplify your life, it'll make a huge difference. You know, say you have your kids signed up for 5 or 6 different activities after school. You don't have to do that. Your child is still going to be your precious child, and your child is still going to be the amazing doctor that you want them to be, whether or not they are in a billion activities after school. Go through your junk. Clutter is enough to drive anybody crazy. When you have anxiety, clutter in your life, clutter in your home brings clutter to your life. It's chaos. So get rid of the stuff that you can get rid of. Just simplify your life. We don't need to be busy 24/7. We just don't. And I don't know when that changed. But we don't. Keep a routine. I talked about this the other day. Keep a routine. I will warn you that by keeping a routine, when you get off of your routine, it can sometimes jack with you. Yesterday, I have my routine that I do every morning, and yesterday morning I had an appointment, and my anxiety was heightened. But I know that's going to happen. So again, I understand my anxiety, and so I understand that the difference in the routine is going to heighten my anxiety. When I was driving home from that appointment yesterday, a car pulled out in front of me and it was going extremely slow. I was on the phone with my daughter and I was screaming at the top of my lungs at the car. I have horrible road rage. Jack with my routine and my road rage. I mean, if the guy could have seen me or heard me, holy cow, he would have, yeah. But, you know, the routine will keep your life going in the right way. Just be aware that if that routine is jacked a little bit, you will be jacked a little bit. So, you know what? Just keep that at the top of your brain. Get enough sleep. I've said this one before. All of these coincide. They can go right with depression. Most of them anyways. But when you don't get enough sleep, you are irritable. Every single one of us are. So when you don't get enough sleep, your anxiety is heightened. Just make sure to get your sleep. It's important for your body anyways and for your brain to be able to shut down so that it can deal with the things that it dealt with throughout the day. And by going to sleep, it kind of just works its way out. And then do things that you enjoy. You know what? Forget about mowing the lawn this week. Well, obviously not here in Michigan, but okay, forget about shoveling, all right? Crochet your blanket. Do something you enjoy, especially to help you relax. Dance, sing, whatever you enjoy, just do it. And that helps with anxiety. Connect with others. We feel, because of the stigma around anxiety, a lot of times we feel that we can't be in with everybody else. That sometimes we convince ourselves that we are crazy. You are not crazy because you have anxiety. If you connect with at least one good friend every day, even if it's just a text that says, hey, hope you're having a great day, just connect with somebody and make sure that that somebody is a positive asset in your life. Sometimes we do have to move away from the negative people and just make sure that they're all positive. So connect with somebody, anybody. Of course, with coping with anxiety, there is medication. I will say that the one medication that is given out a lot, or has been, is extremely addictive, and that is Xanax. I've seen Xanax ruin a lot of lives. I've also seen people that take Xanax and do fine with it. I just want you to be very mindful of the medications that you are given. Do your research on them. But if you need to take medication for your anxiety, by God, you take it. And don't let anybody tell you any different. Medication is a stepping stool to life. And sometimes you just have to take it to deal with life. So just don't let others tell you that you shouldn't take medication. Be mindful of the medication, but if you need it, you take it. Yeah, just take it if you need it. And then this one is going to be a little tricky. It's taking responsibility for your thoughts and your feelings and your behaviors, and then take back control of those thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. If you know that your fear is irrational, take control of that fear. You need to put your anxiety through the what do detectives use? Interrogation. Put your anxiety through interrogation. What really sometimes can happen is that you're worrying over something is actually making it to where you're avoiding the process of, where you're avoiding the emotional processing of it, if that makes sense. If you worry over it, you don't have to deal with it. And that it's a protective device that our brain uses at times. So rather than deal with what's happening, we just worry over it. Instead of acting on what's happening, we don't do anything at all. So if you take responsibility, yep, I have these thoughts, I have these fears, I have these behaviors, and then you take control of it. I'm telling you, once you get that feeling of taking control of that thought, you are going to believe and you will be able to move mountains. There will be nothing that can stop you. Once you are able to take this fear that's way up here and move it down here and walk out the door, man, the celebration. And make it a celebration. If you find that you went to the store today, celebrate because you deserved it. You deserve that celebration. Now, the other day I was told you to make a sign for to ask yourself some questions when it came to your depression. This is another make a sign type of thing, because there's some questions that you need to ask yourself about your anxiety and how you're feeling. And the first thing that I want you to ask yourself is this worry reasonable? Am I worrying about people watching me and making a fool out of myself, when in all actuality, nobody is. They're buying their own things. They don't care what I'm doing. So no. That worry is not reasonable. That can help. It can help your brain realize that it's lying to you. Your brain is lying to you. The second question is, what is the effect of thinking this way? So, my anxiety of being in the store and having an anxiety attack, the effect of that is that I don't want to go. So I miss out on going to the store. The effect of that is that life kind of stops. I'm a mom. I'm a grandma. I'm supposed to go to the store. So life has just stopped. That's the effect that anxiety has. So, find your trigger and ask yourself, what is the effect of this? And I think you're going to be shocked. Just be honest. Then ask yourself, is there a true problem to be solved? So you're sitting at home worrying about something, and you're worrying, and you just can't shut it off. You can't quit thinking about it. The anxiety is good. You're just, it's taking over your life at the moment. Is there a problem that can be solved? So underneath this, maybe ask there's an A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K. But anyway, the A is write down exactly what the problem is. You're $50 late, or you're $50 short on rent, and you've been worried about it for 3 days, but you haven't acted on it. You're just like, I'm $50 short. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? What am I going to do? And anxiety is not, it is a constant worry. You're constantly worrying. And I know that little snippet of life right there sounds very trivial, but it's not. It is not. To somebody that has anxiety, that $50 of being short, which to some people are like, duh, do this. But to somebody that has anxiety, that is huge. And that can cause paralysis in life. So, the problem is you're $50 short for rent. And then write down all the solutions that you can possibly think of, good, bad, or otherwise, to being $50 short for rent. I could borrow it from my parents. I could go to work on Saturday. I could steal it from the neighbor. Like I said, all the solutions that possibly come to your brain, good, bad, or otherwise. Okay? Then think of each solution in practical terms. Can this be done? No, this one can't be done. I can't steal from the neighbor. You know, just look at each one of them as, is this practical? And then choose the most practical solution. The most practical solution would be going to work on Saturday, because that gives me enough money after taxes are taken out, because it's overtime. There's your solution. And then plan how you will carry it out. All the plans. I'm going to get on the phone. I'm going to call my boss. I'm going to ask if I can work on Saturday. I'm going to ask if I can work from 8 to 12 on Saturday. I'm going to go to work. I'm going to stay there. I'm going to leave. And then on Friday, I'm going to have that in my paycheck. I won't be $50 short for rent. Then do it. So you just took something that you were freaking out about, found the problem, and found a solution, and then you carry it out. Between those steps, you will feel your anxiety. Actually, the first step of that starts to make your anxiety level out. Then you get to the next step, leveling even more. By the time you're to the spot where you're going to just do it, you don't even remember being anxious over it in the first place. I know these things may sound simple to most. To somebody that suffers from anxiety, this is huge. Anxiety can happen because of a lot of reasons. You know, sometimes life can bring you down. But there are ways to make it through life, even having anxiety. Understand your anxiety. And if your loved one has anxiety, try to understand their anxiety. Help them breathe through it. Remind them to listen to music. Remind them to get enough sleep. Just be there. Be their person. Life isn't hard. It really isn't. But we have to learn who we are before it makes sense. You're not any less of a person if you have anxiety or any mental illness. Not any less at all. You just need a few extra breaths to make it through the day. And a friend. And you've got one here. Anytime. I hope this helps a little bit. And I hope that these videos have found a warm spot in your guys' heart. And I hope that maybe it's helped out a little bit. I really enjoy talking with you guys and helping everybody through this. And at the same time, you guys are all helping me through this too. Don't think for 1 second that I have this all figured out. Because you guys are my connection. You know how I said connect with other people? That's what we're doing. And we're moving mountains. Because we're going to let everybody else know that the stigma is going away. I hope you guys have a great weekend. Tell somebody today that you love them. And smile at a stranger. Because you never know when you're that person that brings them out of a rough spot. So have a great weekend, you guys. And don't you ever forget that your story isn't over.